The throne room of the Zixri Dominion pulsed with bioorganic luminescence, casting eerie blue light upon the coiled form of Empress Zalzir. Her 8 eyes narrowed as she absorbed the incoming transmission. Before her, a holographic display shimmered, detailing the impossible. 2,000 supercarriers, human-built, prowling the void like a swarm of titanic predators. This cannot be accurate, Zalzir hissed, her voice a blade of contempt. The humans are primitives, scrappy vermin, clinging to the edges of relevance. How could they construct such a force? Her war council flinched. Grand strategist Olax, his chitinous mandibles clicking nervously, dared to answer. Majesty, we underestimated them. Their industry is unconventional. He hesitated, dreading her wrath. They build autonomous shipyards, vast orbital foundries, self-replicating, exponential growth. A ripple of dismay spread through the chamber. The Zixri understood warfare as a matter of attrition. Overwhelming numbers, a slow and inevitable grind. The idea of an adversary outproducing them was anathema. Zalzir's tendrils curled inward. They were supposed to die in fire, she seethed. Now they seek to challenge us? I will burn this upstart race from existence. Her command was simple. The Dominion would mobilize its full force. The humans would learn their place, or be erased, aboard the UNS Endeavor. Admiral Elias Cade leaned forward in his chair, eyes locked onto the tactical hollow hovering above the war table. 2,000 supercarriers. His supercarriers. An achievement so absurd it should have been impossible. And yet, here they were. All right, Cade said, rubbing his temples. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. We have 2 problems. 1, the Zixri now know what we built, and they're not going to take it well. And 2, asked Dr. Sienna Voss, standing at the far end of the table, arms crossed. She was a genius behind the AI-assisted shipyards, her sharp mind responsible for humanity's manufacturing miracle. Cade sighed. 2, we have absolutely no idea if any of this will actually work. Lieutenant Connor Blitz. Vega let out a short laugh from his seat. Admiral, you wound me. That's the spirit of innovation. We built 2,000 supercarriers, slapped an untested AI on half of them, and rushed them into action before the paint dried. What could go wrong? Dr. Voss shot him a glare. You mean besides the AI on 3 carriers developing rogue personalities overnight? One of them is convinced it's Shakespeare, Cade muttered. Once more into the breach, Blitz intoned dramatically. Not helping. Anya Patel, the only civilian at the table, exhaled softly. The historian and linguist had been brought in to assist with diplomacy, if such a thing was even possible. This doesn't have to be an all-out war, she said. If we can establish communication, demonstrate our strength without provoking annihilation, maybe. Cade raised a hand. I appreciate the optimism, Anya, but the Zixri don't do peace talks. They've ruled through fear for centuries, and now they fear us. A silence settled over the room. Then the alert sounded, a priority transmission. Cade accepted it with a grim nod. The face that appeared on the screen was unmistakable. Empress Zalzir. Her mandibles twitched in disdain. Humans, she spat. I do not know whether to be impressed or insulted. 2,000 warships? I had thought your species incapable of such industry. Cade clasped his hands behind his back, offering a measured smile. Turns out we're full of surprises. You misunderstand. The Empress leaned forward. It does not matter how many ships you build. You have neither the discipline nor the legacy to wield such power. The Dominion is eternal. You are a flickering ember. Anya, against all common sense, stepped forward. Then why are you speaking to us at all? She asked. If we are so insignificant, why not simply ignore us? The Empress froze. The faintest flicker of uncertainty crossed her gaze. Because I do not suffer rebellion, she snarled. You have trespassed beyond your place. You will be crushed. The transmission cut off. Cade exhaled through his nose. Well, that went about as expected. So, Blitz said, stretching, what's the plan, boss? We hit him first. No, Cade said. We hold formation. We make them come to us. He turned to Voss. Tell me our shipyards can keep pace with this war. Her confidence wavered, but she nodded. We can match their numbers. Maybe even surpass them. That's the thing, Cade said. We don't just match them. We outthink them. Anya's eyes lit up. Then we play them. Cade raised an eyebrow. Go on. They expect us to be like them. A numbers game. But if we anticipate their strategies, mirror them, twist them against them, Dr. Voss's gaze sharpened. We make them doubt themselves. We fight unpredictably. Cade nodded. Exactly. Blitz grinned. So, crazy, reckless, and totally unorthodox? Yeah, that's humanity's whole thing. Cade's lips curled into a smirk. Then let's show the galaxy what happens when you back humanity into a corner. The war had begun. The vast expanse of the Raxan Nebula churned with shifting clouds of ionized gas, its hues of violet and gold swirling like an ancient cosmic storm. Within the celestial battleground, the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled drifted into formation. 2,000 supercarriers, bristling with firepower, each one a mobile fortress capable of waging entire wars on its own. Admiral Elias Cade stood on the command deck of the UNS Endeavour, arms crossed as he studied the approaching Zixri armada. Vast, predatory, and utterly unafraid. Their ships organic and sleek, pulsed with bioluminescent energy, moving in perfect, disciplined formations. The Dominion strategy had always been simple. Overwhelm the enemy with sheer numbers and relentless force. But for the first time in history, they were not the ones with the numerical advantage. Incoming transmission, the AI announced. The screen flickered to life, revealing Grand Strategist Olax, his dark, chitinous exoskeleton glistening under the organic glow of his warship's bridge. His mandibles clicked in what Cade could only assume was contempt. You should not come here, human, Olax declared, his voice a gravelly rasp. Your numbers are impressive, but you lack the will to wield them. The Dominion is war. You are merely... Cade held up a hand, cutting him off. Let me guess. We're children playing with weapons we do not understand. Maybe a flickering ember before the eternal flame of the Dominion? Olax's eyes narrowed. You mock the inevitable. No, Cade said, smirking. I mock you. Without waiting for a response, he cut the transmission. A chuckle came from the side. Lieutenant Connor Blitz Vega, lounging at his station, shook his head. Gotta hand it to you, Admiral. You really know how to piss off a guy with 1 billion warships. Cade ignored him, eyes locked on the tactical display. The Zixri fleet was advancing, a wall of destruction, precise and disciplined. Dr. Voss, Cade said, turning toward the lead engineer. Tell me our drones are behaving. Dr. Sienna Voss hesitated, tapping rapidly on her tablet. Yes, mostly. There have been minor glitches. Cade exhaled sharply. Define minor. Voss grimaced. One of the AI-controlled carriers keeps attempting to hail the enemy fleet with Shakespearean sonnets. Another has been broadcasting ancient Earth memes over encrypted channels. Cade pinched the bridge of his nose. And the good news? The rest are battle-ready, Voss assured him. More than that, they've been learning. The AI adapts in real time, analyzing Zixri tactics and adjusting accordingly. If this works, we won't just win, we'll rewrite space warfare. Cade glanced at the incoming swarm of enemy ships. No more time for debate. Then let's put that theory to the test, he said. All ships engage. The battle begins. The silence of space shattered as humanity's fleet surged forward. Supercarriers deployed their payloads, waves of autonomous fighter drones, streaking ahead like a metal tsunami. Plasma cannons ignited. Missile barges launched. Railguns thundered. The Zixri, though outnumbered, were not easily cowed. Their ships moved as one, shifting and reconfiguring their formations like a vast, living organism. Each vessel shielded its neighbors, redirecting enemy fire in a dazzling display of coordination. They were battle-tested. They were relentless. And for the first 10 minutes, they were winning. Shit, Blitz muttered. They're chewing through our front line like it's made of paper. They're too organized, Voss realized. They function like a hive mind. Our standard formations won't work. They're countering them in real time. Cade's jaw tightened. Think, damn it. The Zixri were stronger in unity. But unity could be exploited. Then it hit him. Anya, he barked. You said their culture is built on military dominance, right? Anya Patel, hunched over her workstation, nodded. Absolutely. Their entire civilization is structured around tactical supremacy. Every species they've conquered lost because they try to fight them at their own game. Cade grinned. Then we don't fight their game. We break it. He turned to his comms officer. Order every ship to shift into randomized, chaotic maneuvers. No formations. No patterns. Total unpredictability. A beat of hesitation. Sir, you heard me. Make it messy. Within moments, the human fleet transformed into utter anarchy. Supercarriers, designed to be the backbone of a traditional war effort, began behaving like rogue elements. Some stopped mid-battle, letting enemy ships overshoot. Others turned their own formations into baited traps, doubling back unpredictably. Fighter squadrons, normally disciplined units, began feigning retreat, looping around to ambush confused Zixri ships. The effect was instantaneous. The Zixri formations began to break. They're hesitating, Voss said in disbelief. They don't know how to counter this. Anya leaned forward. They've never fought an enemy that doesn't follow a pattern. Their entire doctrine is built on anticipating strategies. But we're too chaotic to predict. Blitz hooped. Hell yeah. Turns out being a disorganized mess is a strategic advantage. The turning point. On the flagship of the Zixri fleet, Grand Strategist Olak stared in horror. This is impossible, he rasped. This is not how war is fought. He had studied human history. He had analyzed their battles, their weaknesses. He had anticipated a traditional engagement. But this was madness. His fleet, superior in every measurable way, was losing. And then the final blow. From the rear of the human fleet, the 3 rogue AI-controlled supercarriers activated. One, still convinced it was a Shakespearean actor, broadcast its activation message on an open channel. Once more unto breach. Dear friends, once more. And then it self-destructed, right in the middle of the Zixri flagship formation. The shockwave rippled through their ranks, throwing their remaining forces into disarray. Olax knew, then and there, that the battle was lost. Aftermath. The Zixri retreated. The impossible had happened. Humanity, an upstart race that should have been crushed in its infancy, had defeated the most dominant military force in the galaxy. Aboard the Endeavor, Cade exhaled slowly. That was the first battle, he murmured. It won't be the last. Anya nodded, her expression unreadable. She'll take this personally. Blitz asked. Anya's gaze was grim. The Empress. Zalzir doesn't just lose. She will come back with everything she has. Cade stared out into the void. He already knew what was coming. The war had only just begun. Aboard the throne of conquest, Empress Zalzir seethed. Her claws flexed against the biometal of her throne, gouging deep grooves into the living material. The chamber around her pulsed in response, its organic walls sensing the rage of their sovereign. The Zixri Dominion had never suffered such humiliation. 2,000 human supercarriers. An insult, a mockery of the Zixri's carefully maintained supremacy. Worse, those reckless apes had won. Her war council knelt in silence, their posture rigid with fear. None dared to speak. Not after Grand Strategist Olax's public execution. His failure had been absolute, and the price had been paid. Zalzir's mandibles twitched as she fixed her gaze on the display before her. The humans had not pressed their advantage. Instead of launching an immediate counterattack, they had regrouped. Fools, a species with no true understanding of war. That hesitation would be their undoing. The upstarts believe they have achieved something great, she said, her voice a blade of ice. They mistake an opening skirmish for victory. The assembled generals did not dare respond. Zalzir leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. We will show them what true war is. She turned to her new grand strategist, General Zakor, a veteran of 1,000 conquests. He had not flinched when Olax was torn apart before his eyes. He understood necessity. "Deploy the world killers," she commanded. A murmur of unease rippled through the War Council. World killers. The Zixri's most devastating weapons. Planetary siege fleets designed for total annihilation. Jakor bowed. "As you command, Majesty." Zalzir's mandibles curled into a cold smile. "I want Earth reduced to ash." A new crisis. Aboard the UNS Endeavor, Admiral Elias Cade stared at the intelligence report in front of him. His gut twisted. This can't be right," Dr. Sienna Voss murmured, scanning the data again. "We beat them back. They're on the defensive. They should be regrouping, not sending 4 world killer fleets directly at Earth." Cade finished grimly. The room fell silent. Everyone had heard of the world killers, but they had never been used against humanity before. Blitz let out a low whistle. "Well, that's horrifying." "They're not coming to fight," Anya Patel said softly, her voice tight with dread. "They're coming to end us." The room felt smaller, heavier. Cade forced himself to focus. Panic wasn't an option. "How long do we have?" Voss exhaled. "For days. They'll reach the Sol system in 4 days." For days. Cade turned to the holographic display. It showed 4 massive Zixri fleets, each carrying enough firepower to burn Earth to the bedrock. The humans had 2,000 supercarriers, yes, but they were spread out, engaged in holding actions across multiple fronts. "Can we intercept them?" Cade asked. Voss shook her head. "Not in time. Even at maximum FTL, we'd arrive too late." Anya frowned, deep in thought. "Then we don't stop them before they get there." Cade looked at her. "You're suggesting we defend Earth itself?" She nodded. "They expect us to scramble our fleet, to fight them in open space." She gestured to the map. "But look at their formation. They've spread out, planning to surround the planet before we can reinforce it." Voss caught on, "Which means they're predicting our response." Anya nodded. "But what if they arrive and find nothing? No resistance. Just empty space." Cade frowned. "You want us to abandon Earth?" Anya met his gaze, her expression unwavering. "No, I want them to think we did." The ambush. 3 days later, the world killer fleets arrived in the Sol system. Their sensors found nothing. No supercarriers. No planetary defenses. Earth hung before them, silent and unguarded. Aboard the Zixri flagship, General Jakor narrowed his eyes. "This is a deception," he muttered. But what kind of deception? The humans wouldn't have fled. That was not their way. And yet, where were their forces? He hesitated. Too long. The first trap triggered. From Earth's shadow, hidden within its magnetosphere, the supercarriers emerged. Thousands of them. Their hull plating, coated with new sensor-dampening technology, had masked their presence. The moment the Zixri fleet committed to advancing, the human fleet struck. It was not a traditional battle. It was an execution. Hundreds of railguns fired in unison, the initial salvo punching through Zixri's shields before they could react. Targeting systems, fed by real-time AI, picked apart enemy ships with surgical precision. The Zixri, caught in the kill box, had nowhere to maneuver. Then the second wave hit. Supercarriers deployed automated war drones, each programmed with new combat algorithms that adapted to enemy maneuvers in seconds. The Zixri's famed tactical discipline became a liability. The more rigidly they followed their formations, the more the drones exploited their weaknesses. Within minutes, the first world killer was destroyed. The second followed soon after. Jakor, his ship burning around him, finally understood. They had not outmatched the humans. The humans had out-evolved them. Before he could issue a retreat order, his flagship was torn apart by a final, concentrated barrage. The aftermath. On the bridge of the UNS Endeavor, Cade exhaled as the last enemy ship went dark. The fleet had done the impossible. Stopped the world killer assault on Earth. Blitz let out a slow, disbelieving laugh. Holy shit. We just baited the most feared fleet in the galaxy into a trap. Anya, arms folded, gave a small smile. And they took it, completely. Voss looked at the wreckage on the main display. They're going to take this personally. Cade nodded grimly. The Empress won't tolerate another loss. Anya's expression hardened. Then we make sure it's the last one. The war was far from over. But for the first time, humanity wasn't just surviving. They were winning. The throne of conquest burned with a furious crimson light, pulsating in tandem with Empress Zalzir's simmering rage. Her claws drummed against the armrests of her living throne, each tap sending ripples to the biometal structure of her war chamber. The weight of failure hung thick in the air. Her world killer fleets were gone. 2,000 human supercarriers still remained, and the upstarts had turned their own doctrine against her. Worse, they had won. This was beyond unacceptable. Her mandibles clicked once, a sharp, jagged sound. Around her, the War Council trembled. None dared to speak. They had seen what happened to those who disappointed her. Zalzir exhaled, slow and deliberate. They have grown adaptable, she admitted, her voice a blade of ice. That is not weakness. That is danger. She leaned forward. It is time to end this war. Permanently. Silence. Then Jarix, her most loyal Praetorian warlord, spoke. Majesty, he rumbled, his deep-set eyes gleaming. The fleet has suffered great losses. Even with reinforcements, another direct assault would be costly. Zalzir's mandibles twitched. A direct assault? She repeated, tilting her head. Jarix hesitated. Yes, Majesty. If we... No. Her voice lashed through the chamber like a whip. We have underestimated the humans because we treated them as another conquest. They are not. She stood, her form towering over the War Council, 8 feet of regal terror. Her gaze swept across them, and none dared meet it. They believe they are clever, she said softly, that their little tricks can make them equals. She turned to the holographic display, where Earth hung in the void, fragile and unprotected. If they wished to test their cleverness, her claws curled into fists. Then let us break them. Earth's last stand. 3 days later, Earth's sky burned. The Zixri Armada, vast, vengeful, and unlike anything seen before, had arrived. Admiral Elias Cade stood on the bridge of the UNS Endeavor, fists clenched behind his back. His expression was unreadable, but everyone on the command deck could feel the tension rolling off him. They didn't just send another fleet, Blitz muttered, staring at the tactical display. They sent everything. He wasn't wrong. Hundreds of capital ships, thousands of war cruisers, and untold swarms of bio-drones, a force designed not for conquest, but extinction. They're not taking chances this time, Voss murmured. They're here to wipe us out. Anya Patel studied the formations. Her eyes darted between patterns, searching, analyzing. They're not advancing all at once, she noted. That's strange. Kate exhaled sharply. They're toying with us. The realization settled like a stone in his stomach. The Empress didn't just want to win. She wanted to make them suffer. Order, sir, his comms officer asked, voice tight. Cade stared at the screen. Outnumbered, outgunned, no easy way out. And yet, he grinned. Orders. He turned his crew, eyes sharp. We do what humans do best. A pause. Then Anya smiled. We cheat. Cade nodded. We cheat. The unthinkable plan. In the depths of lunar base data, a team of engineers worked frantically, surrounded by machines never meant to exist. 5 minutes until impact, a technician called. Dr. Sienna Voss barely looked up, her hands a blur over the console. We'll be ready in 3. She glanced at the experimental FTL pulse destabilizers mounted onto the surface of the moon, humanity's last-ditch gambit. It was a mad plan, one that shouldn't work. But as Cade had said, humans cheat. The Battle of Earth begins. The first wave struck like a tidal force. Zixri ships descended through the atmosphere, plasma lances scorching the skies. Earth's defenses held, barely. Supercarriers fought in orbit, turning space into a burning graveyard. Every loss cut deep, but every victory was stolen through sheer human ingenuity. Blitz led a squadron of fighters, weaving through enemy ranks in impossible formations. Unpredictability was their weapon. Anya relayed new tactical shifts in real time, predicting enemy movements before they made them. And Cade played his final card. The trap is sprung. The moment Zalzir's personal dreadnought entered lunar orbit, Cade gave the order. Fire. The FTL destabilizers activated. Space tour. A sudden, cataclysmic rupture in the fabric of reality. A controlled gravitational singularity, ripping apart everything within range. The Empress's flagship and half her fleet were caught mid-jump. The effect was instantaneous and irreversible. Hundreds of Zixri ships vanished into the abyss. A brutal gamble. A devastating victory. The Empress falls. In the wreckage of her dreadnought, Empress Zalzir lay broken. Her command ship had survived the rupture, barely, but the damage was catastrophic. Systems failing. No reinforcements. Aboard the UNS Endeavor, Cade stared at the transmission from her wreckage. A part of him expected her to curse, to rage, to demand vengeance. Instead, she laughed. Low, bitter. "You are remarkable," she rasped. "I see now why the Dominion fears you." Cade exhaled. "Then you know it's over." A long silence. Then, "Yes," she admitted. Cade nodded. Then surrender. Another silence. Then a flicker of something dangerous in her ruined eyes. No. Before Cade could react, her ship detonated. A final act of defiance. The war was over. Humanity had won. The aftermath. Earth stood, scarred but victorious. The Zixri Dominion crumbled. Without their Empress, their rule fractured. Some factions sought peace. Others fled. Anya sat beside Cade in the war room, staring at the galactic map. For the first time, humanity wasn't on the defensive. Blitz leaned back, exhaling. "So, are we the big badasses now?" Cade smirked. "We're survivors. That's all we ever were." Voss adjusted her glasses. Survivors, with 2,000 supercarriers and a reputation for breaking the most feared empire in the galaxy. A beat. Blitz grinned. "So, yeah, we're the badasses now." Laughter, relief, and the knowledge that humanity had earned its place among the stars.